Really impressive.
Let's get to the next game. Less impressive is the Texans, who got stomped out by the Vikings. What a beatdown. I did not see this one coming. Vikings moved to 3-0. C.J. Stroud really struggled. Now, Joe Mixon did not play. They had no run game. Cam Akers.
And by the way, Brian Flores, defensive coordinator.
He's the coordinator of the year so far.
Hey, listen, Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. Brock Purdy said they did stuff we'd never seen before. C.J. Stroud with no run game, he's still a young kid, looked lost.
They showed him on the sideline. He had his head in his hands like, what's going on? I can't process. I mean, it was brutal. He had 2 interceptions, including one on his first pass of the game. It was tipped unlucky. Here's Stroud on the Vikings' defensive performance.
Trying to just stay in the pocket and, deliver as best I could, but, they had some coverages and some pressures that they did at a very, very high level. So, kudos to those guys, and they kicked our butts today. They are a great team, and they will continue to be doing great things. But we know what we are, and that's not what we put on the field.
Okay, so listen.
He had
150.
Let me see here. Okay, I was hoping there was going to be some stats there, but there's not. So listen, okay. I'm sure Texan fans are definitely not feeling too great about that. And I don't know how much Texan fans are following the Vikings, Sam Darnold, and all of that, right? I don't know if they went to this game thinking, oh, this is just the Vikings. Who did they really beat? They beat the Giants and yada, yada, yada. And, Sam Darnold, he's not that good. And, he's a backup quarterback and all of that. And the truth of the matter is that Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell has just been an unbelievable marriage together. Sam Darnold right now is arguably the MVP of the NFL right now. I mean, he's just playing out of his mind, okay? And the Texans very well could have just went up against the best team in the NFC. Definitely a top team in the NFL, right? So I don't know if fans are really upset about this, or if they're just dejected because they think that this was maybe not really that good of a team. But this was an eye opener for sure, but not in a way that needs to devastate Texans fans. Not for them to be able to be like, oh, we got all happy for nothing. The Texans have not been playing perfect ball over these last few weeks, which is okay. It's to be expected. Those things happen in the beginning of the seasons. Not everyone gets to hit the ground running. They've had moments where they look unbelievable and great. And C.J. Stroud has been, unreal. But just make no mistake about it that if you're facing such a top team right now, because the Vikings aren't even full strength and they're doing this, right? I mean, they're just unloading, honestly. And yeah, Flores is proving to be a great defensive mind, not a good head coach, but a great coordinator. And those things matter. So, that first drive, that first turnover is tough, right? You're on the road. It gets the crowd going. It's like the ultimate putting yourself on your back foot right off the jump. And that was just a little bit bad luck, right? Tipped up, goes up, and gets intercepted. And sometimes that's enough. Enough of that momentum is just to have everything spiral. Because now the Texans are a little shook, the coaching staff's a little stunned, the fans are in it, the Vikings, the member, the team itself, they're fired up, ready to go. It's just such a massive momentum swing, just like that. And quite frankly, the Vikings already have the momentum before the game even starts because of obviously they have such a great home field advantage. I just think that throughout that game, there's a few things. One, Sam Darnold he had too much time. He really did. And if you give someone like Sam Darnold time and Kevin O'Connell time, they're going to be able to pick you apart. They just are. You got to make the quarterback uncomfortable. You got to turn the quarterback into a playmaker. And he just had time. And Sam Darnold is a beautiful thrower of the ball. He is very accurate. He's got the arm strength. He's got the decision making. And Kevin O'Connell is going to be able to dial up plays. It's just going to happen. Right? If you give Patrick Mahomes time, if you give Josh Allen time, think about quarterbacks. Think about when CJ Stroud is given time. If you give CJ Stroud time, it's over. It's over. So if the opposing quarterback is going to get all this time, it's just going to be tough. It really, really is. It felt like Stroud was forced to constantly try to make something out of nothing. Right? There's 14 carries for 38 yards rushing. I mean, you just can't win that way. It's not sustainable. It's really, really not. And we talked about that before. You just can't do that. And it's not that the defense was so bad for the Texans, right? Because you look at that and you say 34-7. It's not that the defense was so bad. It was that the Vikings' offense and execution, to me, was just so flawless, right? It's not like the Vikings were just throwing to these wide open guys. The Texans' defense was lost, right? Missing tackles every 5 seconds. They were just being outmanned. You know, their will was. It was just that the offense for the Vikings right now is just humming along. It just is. Seriously, it's just the way it is. So I just wouldn't be, again, too distraught. I think it's a good thing that this happens in week 3 because it can really put some great stuff on film for the Texans to kind of look at, to learn and grow and evolve. And they see what a great punch in the face looks like. And now they got it. Now they can see it. Now they can dissect it. It really gives the coaches a lot to work with. And I think that that's a good thing. It's better to have that now than it is week 13, 14, 15, later in the season. You had so many long 3rd and longs. I mean, right, there was 11 penalties. You had 9 plus 3 and 10 or more. You're not going to win games that way. I mean, that's brutal, no matter who your quarterback is. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud, it doesn't matter. You're not going to, I mean, it's just too much, especially when you have the other team firing at all cylinders. It's just not going to happen. It was just one of those bizarre games where just nothing went right. You get, you get Sam Darnold, who throws a backwards pass, for instance, right? He throws like a weird backwards pass that like bounces. That's a free game to take. And it goes to, I forget who it was, but he was able to catch, he was able to like scoop it up and then run for like 8-9 yard gain. Right? That's one of those moments where usually like at least it's a big loss, or then you could force a turnover, whatever it may be, and didn't. The ball was just literally bouncing right to him. Okay, no harm, no foul. It was just one of those games, and every single team faces it one time or another. Even when Sam Darnold's throwing in these really tight window throws, right? Really great coverage. They just like couldn't bat it down. They just couldn't dislodge the ball. It was just a great execution from the 49ers or from the Vikings. And sometimes you just got to give it up. He threw a touchdown in like triple coverage. And sometimes it's the hat tip. They talk about this in basketball all the time. What's his face says this all the time, Reggie Miller, where he's just like, that was unbelievable defense. All you can do is shake the hand of whoever the offensive player was. All you can do is just shake the hand because you can't play defense any better than that. And sometimes that's the way a game is, right? It's not so much that these are big issues or big problems for the Texans. It's more just sometimes you got to shake the hand of the Vikings and say, yep, you beat us. You did it. They defended us at a very high level, kicked our butts. I think that's accurate. So I just wouldn't get too lost in it, though. Obviously, if these trends continue, it's concerning, but I don't think that this is something that needs to be like, oh my God, does this mean we're not really as good as we thought we were? Perfect example, 49ers get rocked by the Ravens late in the season, so not a good thing, right? The opposite of what I said, got rocked. They went to the Super Bowl and almost beat the Chiefs. They were a play away from winning the Super Bowl, okay? A Super Bowl, and they got embarrassed on, I think it was Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, right? Brock Purdy gets like knocked out of that game, and he threw like he was not good at all. The game was just ugly, start to finish. Lamar Jackson just dominated, and yet, boom, it was okay. That's where you got to trust in the Texans culture. That's where you got to trust in the leadership of your coach, of your coordinators, of CJ Stroud. It's yes, this was not good. Yes, we got our butts kicked, but this is not a representation of who we are as a team. This doesn't mean that we are a bad team. This doesn't mean that we're not good enough to beat the Minnesota Vikings. This does not mean that we're not good enough to go out and get to the AFC Championship game, win the AFC Championship game, get to the Super Bowl, whatever it may be. This is one of those games that you learn as much as you possibly can. You see everything that went wrong. You see how some things, how the other team executed, how maybe at certain times you failed to execute. You learn it, you grow from it, and then you move on. right? You don't let something like this fester. And I don't think they will. This is a younger team, but still with some veterans. CJ Stroud feels like he's already 30-year-old veteran, right? Same thing with other coaching staff. The coaching staff feels like they've been around for 50 years as well. So I don't think this will be something that can destabilize the Texans' aspirations, because I do believe that they are a top team in the NFL. But yeah, they got some work to do, which I got news for you. Every single team except for maybe the Vikings right now have work to do. The Packers have to reintegrate Jordan Love. Patrick Mahomes is having career worst in all stats. He's playing awful. He's literally career lows. It doesn't get any worse than that. He was the 18th best quarterback in the NFL in week 3. They were still able to win, but legitimate serious problems. People just want to say, well, he'll get it together come time playoffs. You don't know that. You're just assuming that. That's not how things work. You got to do it. So all of these teams have work to do. And the Texans are one of those teams. And you know what? It's actually a good problem to have. Because the problem is you see this all the time. These teams that are rocking and rolling. We always talk about this come time playoffs, come time late in the season. They say this team is rolling so much they never really had to face any adversity. Right? And they don't know how to deal with it. And that was one of the best things that happened with the Golden State Warriors during their dynasty run. They would randomly go down by like 20 points. Right? They would blow out teams and hit a million threes, but they would randomly be down by like 20 going into the third quarter. And they did it a lot of times in the playoffs and the regular season. So they knew how to come back. They knew adversity. They had the confidence. Yeah, we're down by 20. It's game 5. It's a crucially important game. And we're down by 20 on the road, third quarter. Boom! They go on like a 25-4 run. Now they're winning. Just like that. And you're just like, what? So it's good things. It's a good thing to face some of this adversity. So I just wanted to make sure to really emphasize the positive for the Houston Texans in this situation. And I really look forward to see how they bounce back, how they move forward. That will tell us a lot about this team, really honestly, their next game. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Texans getting beat pretty good by the Minnesota Vikings? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.